Well, MEC Makgoe's passing has sparked an outpouring of condolences and tributes to his work and his contribution to education. His inclusion of stakeholders in improving the lot of learners in particular have been attributes that have been lauded. Mokholoane Moloi is the Provincial Secretary of Teachers Union SADTU and joins us now. Good evening to you and welcome. Condolences to yourselves and all of those who worked with MEC Makgoe. You are remembering him as somebody who spent his life in service. How would you characterize, from your perspective, some of his chief accomplishments?
Good evening and evening to the viewers. Indeed, as a province, it's a great lead. Let me start also by conveying our sincere condolences to the family, the friends, colleagues, and everyone who knew Comrade Tate very well. Indeed, we are shattered and devastated as SADTU in the province by the passing away of this giant leader who has taken the education in the province to greater heights, as we all know.
Mokholoane, you've lauded the way that he engaged with SADTU as a union in a role that he discharged for almost 15 years. What would you say differentiated him from his counterparts, especially his counterparts in other provinces?
Yeah, Comrade Tate, when he arrived in the Department of Education, he was coming from other departments and was not so well conversant, I must say, with educational issues. And when he arrived, he found home to be SADTU, the great union in the education sector. And he started establishing relationship with SADTU and other organization unions in the education sector. And from there, he then understood the education. And that does not necessarily mean that things were very smooth when he started. And you will recall at some point, we had some conflicts between ourselves as the organization and Comrade Tate, to the point where we protested as the organization. But he did not take that personally. He understood that it is because of the position that he's occupying, not necessarily him as a person. And that actually made him one of the distinct leaders, separate from others. And by the way, he was the person who listened, allowed himself to be led to a certain extent. Will take decisions, of course, that will even not make us happy. But he believed that in what he did, being decisive as a leader, and that made him a bit different from other MEC. And we'll recall even during the conference of the ANC recently, it was said that Free State, amongst all the departments, education reigns as a best among us all. So it shows the character of leader that we have in the MEC Tate Makgoe.
And he was quite a personality as well, wasn't he? Dancing and singing. I mean, in the clip that we just showed our viewers, it was to, Tina Turner's Simply the Best. But I recall one, where he was singing You Win Again with the Bee Gees track blaring in the background at the announcement of matric results. I think it was in 2020. How did his passion for the role transform how the province was able to perform?
Yeah, when he arrived in education, with time, he developed that passion of loving education. He would say at some point that now I'm starting to fall in love with this sector, which initially he thought that there are too many laws in this department that actually prevented him to implement strategies. But along the way, he gelled and then started to understand the sector, and then working with all the stakeholders, the teachers themselves, the learners, the parents, and other interested stakeholders in education. And working together with these stakeholders, then we started to see some change in education, because we will know him with that passion of maths and science and accounting, which actually changed the attitude of learners, even of the parents, and then towards this subject, which are commonly known as killer subject. but he made them to be fashionable. And that's why he even referred to as Mr. Met's MEC. So that love, that passion that he then developed in education made him a person who then saw that through education we can change everything.
Yeah, Mokholoane Moloi, thank you very much for talking to us tonight, just reflecting on the life and times of the Free State MEC for Education, MEC Makgoe, and his untimely and tragic passing earlier today, along with his VIP protection officer. We understand the driver of the vehicle as well is in ICU tonight.